Hello guys, today I'm going to be doing a video for you on the Raidmax Alpha computer case. So let's get into this. Starting off with what you get included, you're going to get the instructions, a bag of screws, and then you're going to get the remote that you can use to control the LEDs. And it does come with a battery too, which is nice. And then it came included in this box, which is a very nice box in my opinion, and it also was packaged pretty good as well. So if you take a quick look at what the case looks like, you can see right here it just is in the black color, and it does also come in white. And you have a look at the side, which has a very large side panel, which I love those big side panels. And then it has a very sleek and simplistic look to the case. So over here we do have the power and the reset button, and we also have the power LED and the hard drive indicator LED as well. So if we take a quick look at the inside of the case now, you can see what it pretty much looks like. Now it isn't a really big case or anything like that, so you might have a little bit of issues with those very large extended ATX motherboards. I'd say this is more of a smaller ATX sized case, but it does look very nice and compact and will look very clean when set up. So at the bottom you can see we have the little, you can put the 2.5-inch drives down there. So if you want to have them there, and then at the front we just have the little slot right there, which will provide some airflow to your hard drives, and also will allow you to put a radiator down there. So in terms of radiator support or fan support, you can have the two 140s or you can have three 120s, and that means you can have up to a 360mm radiator if you remove the top drive bay. So that's definitely really nice that there's all that room for radiator support in such a small case like this. And then at the rear there is a 120mm fan, which is included with the case, and at the top you can also have two 140s as well. So in terms of cooling, there's quite a bit of options here. The only thing I can really say about that is maybe I would have liked to see a front fan included, because you only get one exhaust fan, which really isn't a whole lot. So I would have at least liked to see maybe one other fan included, which would have been a nice touch. And at the rear of the case, of course, it's pretty self-explanatory. You have all of your PCI slots, your motherboard, and then your power supply at the bottom. So taking a look at the other side, we're going to have the power supply bay down there, which does have little feet which should help prevent the vibrations. We have the two 3.5-inch or 2.5-inch drive bays, which are going to be good for almost all your drives. Then we have two 2.5-inch SSD or laptop hard drives racks on the side as well, as you can put two there. And if you do completely want to remove that, that is an option as well. Of course, we have all of our little cords there, which will control all the USBs and the switches and whatnot on this case. And at the side here we do have two USB 3s and the audios. The only thing I don't like about this design is if your case is right up against a wall, you're probably not going to be wanting to use those. So if your case is right up against a wall, then this might be a little bit of an issue, so you're going to have to leave a bit of the room between the wall and the case. So that's just something to keep in mind. I mean, honestly, it's not really a big deal, but something that I maybe would have liked to see it on the top of the case, because it just is more universal for all setups. And then at the front here, of course, we have the little girl thing, which is going to show off your RGB LEDs. And then we have the 5.25-inch drive bay at the top. And at the top as well, we do have the removable dust filter. So in terms of all the looks and design of this case, I think it's designed pretty good with all your little accessories and your hard drives and whatnot in mind, and has quite a bit of space for being such a small case, and it definitely does look very nice. And then if we take a look at the front of the case with the panel off, you can see pretty much what's going to be doing the RGB LED kind of thing. It's just a very long strip at the front, and then over there's just the front panel, and it does have a little white back in on it. So that should help spread it out more evenly and make it look a bit nicer. So right here I have a 280mm radiator, and it's not like a ridiculously large radiator or anything. You can see that it's not that thick, and the fan's pretty thin as well. But you can either have it like down here, this is a 280, so it's two 140s. You can have it down here, and that's pretty much just about it. Now the thing I don't like about having it down here is it's just exhausting a lot of the hot air into this power supply bay, and really the only way for that air to escape is through these little holes or the power supply, which isn't really the best because you're going to be heating up your power supply and whatnot a bit. But I would like to be able to put it like more up here, but that's possible, but really not. I mean, it's a little bit better. But the thing is, if you have a 280 at the front, you won't be able to put another intake fan. So you're going to have your intakes at the top, which is a little bit weird. So yeah, I mean, that's a little bit of an issue if you have a large radiator like myself. So the LED strip in the front of the case is pretty cool. It's definitely, you can see right where the line is of the LED strip, but it does seem to illuminate the front pretty nicely. It has a lot of different colors and modes. So right here you can have it fading in and out, let's per se, and you can change the speed of it in case you want to go in faster, or there's different modes you can have, of course. So if you want something like this, or you want flashing, or you can have, really there's a bunch of different things you can have. And then of course you can change the colors on it as well, or the speed if you want it to be faster or whatnot. You can see you just have it fading through the colors. You can speed it up if you want. So it definitely has a lot of different options, and if you just wanted a solid color you can leave it at that. So in my opinion there's lots of different modes, and the LED strip at the front is very cool and nice, and the remote does work pretty nicely as well, and it also has a little magnet on it too. Really the only issues I had with this case was the little feet at the bottom too. How you can see it just slides around very easy. Like, it's lacking any sort of grip on the bottom. So of course it is going to raise the case off the table, which is going to help a bit with airflow, and it just looks a bit better. But it doesn't really stay put on your desk, so if you have a really glossy or smooth desk like I have, maybe just get some of those like little pads you can get that stick on at the dollar store or something like that. Now if we just take a quick look through the case, now I have everything assembled inside of it, we can just take a look at it. So here you can see the side panel. Now the window is tinted a little bit, so it is a bit darker, but it does seem to look pretty nice, and it is very large and super clean inside, which I love. I love a big large window like this on the side, and I think it just makes it look so much nicer. So definitely a good props on that. Opening up the case, you can see pretty much what I have inside of it. So I have a 280mm Radiator, just your standard size ATX motherboard, and then a GTX 970. So you can get a good look for pretty much what's going to fit in this case. Now, I think it is a little bit cramped on the inside. It does have lots of room for large graphics cards and things like that, but really in terms of large motherboards and water cooling, you're not going to have a whole lot of options. You can see just with the standard size motherboard here how cramped I am for room. So maybe something that would have been a little bit nicer is, instead of all of this extra room down here, maybe move this little panel down a little bit down there, so if you do have a larger motherboard, your cables will easily fit through there. But honestly, that's not a huge deal in case you have those really big extended ATX motherboards, which is something to keep in mind. But in terms of graphics cards length, you have a lot of room for graphics cards, so definitely you can fit a big one in there even with a water cooler. You can see the cable management through the bottom is okay, like it's not amazing or anything like that, but it does the job and it reaches all the little connections down there. And if you can also have like SATA ports or USB, you can route those through the side there. At the top I have two 120mm fans. You could always fit another one at the top. The back is just the stock 120. There are little holes at the top as well, so you can route your CPU connectors and your fan power through there. So pretty good for cable management. And then at the rear, of course, I have the standard size kind of setup and whatnot. Pretty much it was good to go at the back, besides these little things right here. These are the Pci Covers, which pretty much when you put in your graphics cards or your accessories and whatnot, you're going to have to break those off and you cannot put them back on. So if you're going to be switching out graphics cards or motherboards, you might have open slots, so that might look a little bit weird. It's a little bit of a disappointment, but not really a huge big deal for me. And then through the back side, you can pretty much just see what it looks like. Now I have a regular hard drive down there, I have a SSD there, I have a little fan controller here, and then all the cables are routed throughout the case. So for the most part down here, there isn't really a whole lot you can do with cables. There's plenty of space to like scrunch them up there like I did. And then through the side you can route little cables and whatnot. So nothing really amazing in the rear for cable management. But you can see I just stuffed all this crap in there, and it worked absolutely fine. I didn't have to like sit on the case to close it or anything like that. So a decent amount of room in the or on the side for routing cables and whatnot seemed to work fine. One thing that was a little disappointing about the LED was that there is not an LED strip on like the top or the bottom of the case that lights up the inside. It will light up the inside a little bit if you do not have front fans on the case. I do have my radiator at the front, so it is blocking off that light source. So something to keep in mind if you do have front intake fans, which you probably are going to have because most cases are going to need those kind of intake fans. But yeah, maybe a top LED strip would have been nice just to illuminate the inside of the case, but it's just my opinion. The case goes for $75 on Newegg.com and $100 on Newegg.ca. So if you want to pick it up, I'll have some links in the description down below, and you can just go ahead and check it out. But that's pretty much concluded it for this video. If you're looking for a case that is fairly small, it looks pretty cool and has everything that you would potentially need, I think this is a good case. It's very well built and definitely does look very cool. So that's pretty much all of this video. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, you can leave them in the comments down below. As usual, links are always in the description. Like I say, thank you to Raidmax for providing this case for a review. That's all for now. Have a nice day and see you guys later.